It was the winter of the Marcomannic Wars. Between 166 and 180, sea snow blanketed the forests of the north, and icy winds howled through the valleys. Rome had sent legions deep into Germania to guard a vital bridge across a raging river, a bridge that bound two mountains together in the frozen wilderness. Among the soldiers rode Lucius Varro, a knight of Rome, hardened by countless battles and crowned with victories. His crimson cloak marked him as a commander, but also a target. His mission was clear: hold the bridge at all costs. When Lucius and his men marched into the valley, silence fell. The river roared below, snow drifted from the sky. Then, a horn shattered the silence. From the shadows of the trees, the Germanic tribes poured forth, warriors painted for war, outnumbering the Romans many times over. Steel clashed. Spears rained. On the bridge, beneath falling snow, the battle raged like thunder. Lucius fought with fury, his blade cutting down man after man. His shield shattered, his arms dripping red. He slew more than 100 enemies, but the Germans pressed harder, wave after wave. His men fell one by one until only he remained. High on a black horse, the enemy commander raised his bow. From across the field, an arrow whistled through the air and struck Lucius deep in the chest, staggering. He fell backward into the roaring river, and the icy waters swallowed him whole. The current dragged him far from the battlefield. Unconscious, his body drifted until his armor snagged on a fallen tree at the river's edge. When he awoke, he was half buried in snow, his chest burning with pain. With trembling hands, he tore the arrow from his flesh. Night fell. Shivering, he sparked a fire and clung to life until dawn. The next day, limping and bleeding, he stumbled upward through snow and stone. At last, he reached a cave in the mountain and collapsed inside. There, with knife and fire, he seared his wound, treated himself, and endured. But hunger soon gnawed at him. Venturing into the white forest, he was surrounded by 5 wolves. With only a dagger, he fought for his life. He slew 3 before the survivors fled, but not without wounds. Barely alive, he dragged the carcass of one wolf back to the cave, skinned it for warmth, and roasted its flesh. For days he survived like this, hunting and healing, fire his only companion. Then came the day that changed his fate. Through the falling snow, Lucius heard a cry. A young Nordic woman ran through the forest, golden hair streaming behind her. Armed men chased her, shouting in a harsh tongue. Lucius raised his bow from behind a tree. His arrows struck swift and true. One by one, her pursuers fell. The woman's name was Eira, daughter of a tribal chief. Grateful, she led him to her home. At first, her people feared the Roman knight, but when they saw his strength, his skill in the hunt, and his quiet honor, they accepted him. He brought meat from the forest, wood for the fire, and guarded them at night. Weeks turned to months. Lucius and Eira hunted side by side, shared fire and laughter, and at last shared hearts. Her father blessed their union. Lucius Varro, once a knight of Rome, became husband and father in the north. Years passed and children were born, 2 sons and a daughter. For a time, peace replaced war, but peace never lasts. One winter morning, 2 Germanic scouts passed the valley. Their eyes widened when they saw him. The Roman knight thought long dead. They ran to their general with the news. Soon, soldiers stormed the village. Lucius fought with fury, cutting them down like the old days of Rome. But the enemy general came with greater numbers. Lucius was struck down, and in the chaos, Eira was taken. Bound in chains, she was dragged to the general's fortress and locked in darkness. Lucius survived once more. His wounds healed and his spirit hardened. He trained the men of Eira's tribe, farmers, hunters, and boys, drilling them in the Roman way of war. When they were ready, he led them against the fortress. The battle was fierce. His men fought bravely, but they were too few and untrained. Lucius bled again, and the tide turned against him. It seemed all would be lost. Far away, a Roman cohort was on patrol. From a distance, they saw smoke rising and heard the roar of battle. Their commander, wary, sent scouts to investigate. The scouts crept close to the fortress, and what they saw froze them in awe. On the battlements, a man in Roman armor fought like a lion, surrounded by enemies. His movements, his stance, his fury unmistakable. A knight of Rome. The scouts raced back. "There is a Roman fighting within the fortress." The commander lifted his sword. "To arms for Rome!" The legion charged. Shields locked, spears thrust, their cry thundered through the valley. The Germanic warriors, already weary, now faced the might of Rome itself. The battle shook the earth. By nightfall, the fortress lay broken, the Germanic general captured, and Eira freed from her chains. Lucius held her in his arms once more. When the Roman commander approached, he recognized the scarred knight immediately. Lucius Varro, the lost eagle of Rome. The officer bowed. Rome honored him still. Lucius welcomed them to his hearth, feasted them with meat and fire, and told the tale of his long struggle. Soon he gathered his family, Eira, their children and her parents, and journeyed south. Through forest and mountain they traveled, until at last the walls of Rome rose before them. There, Lucius Varro was restored to honor, given land and title. No longer a lone knight in a frozen wilderness, he lived with his family in peace and dignity, a man who had faced death, wolves, and war, and returned with love stronger than any empire. And thus the tale of Lucius Varro, the Knight of the North, passed into legend. If you loved this dive into the past, hit that like button, subscribe for more epic histories.